Hey, good morning YouTube. This is April over at the Resellers Learning Curve. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Hope you had a good Monday and a good weekend and hustled and found some things this weekend and sold some things and made some money. I'm hoping you guys are all out there getting it because this is getting it season. I've never gotten tax refunds, like the big tax refunds that people ball out on. I'm not sure why. I think it's a good thing in a way that I don't get these huge massive tax refunds, but it always feels very, very sad to me this time of year when the rest of the world is balling out, buying everything on their wish list. And yeah, it's still a hustle and a grind for me. I do not ball out at tax time, not ever. I'm trying to think. I can't remember a time that I have gotten huge tax refunds because, yeah, I never have. Maybe I don't have enough kids. Maybe I don't pay enough taxes. I don't know. That's a really, really random line of thought. But the reason for this video today is I wanted to shoot a quick video and talk about some of the things that I've sold recently that are non-clothing items. Because as you guys probably know, as I have mentioned in previous videos, I'm really, really challenging myself to get outside of my comfort zone of clothing. And I've challenged myself to hustle things that I've never hustled before. And it's been interesting. It's been enlightening. I probably will not sell a ton of golf clubs and irons going forward. My friend Ornsby told me that they were a pain to ship, and while I believed him and while I expected them to be a pain to ship, I had no idea. I had no idea how much of a pain to ship they were. So the last thing that I'm selling from that golf lot that I told you guys about is the one tailor-made bag. I actually gave away an entire set of irons and one of the golf bags to a friend of mine here at the university, a gentleman that actually helped me get my job. So I've known him for years, and he's a golfer, and he was really excited to get an extra set of irons, and there wasn't enough money in those for me to ship them. So yeah, I gave those away, and I was already in the black from the couple of items that I sold, so I didn't bother with trying to list and ship those. So that's something that's on this list that I'm going to talk about today. So the number one thing that I sold, and this was just yesterday, that's a non-clothing item but still in that niche because it's shoes. I sold a pair of Anthropologie espadrilles. I think that's how you pronounce them, but if you are into women's fashion and you sell women's clothing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're typically a wedge with like a cork type, what's the word I'm looking for? A cork slash hay looking heel. They're typically going to be, the good ones are going to be made in Spain because that's the area that they originated from. But these were an Anthropologie brand. The brand is G-A-I-M-O. This is the second pair of these shoes that I've sold, and they sell really fast. But I got those at Goodwill for $5 and they sold for $50. And like I said, that's the second pair that I found, and both of them sold in under 2 weeks. So be on the lookout for those Anthropologie espadrilles. The second thing that I sold for good profit was an Auric handheld vacuum cleaner. This was new in the box. I got it from my girl right up the street, her thrift store, Miss Pat. If you're in the Youngstown area and you watch my videos, I am right now dropping a major, super major honey hole of mine. Miss Pat's thrift store on Market Street, coming into downtown Youngstown. Always lit, always lit. Pat's my girl. We go back to my daughter's birth. Her store had just opened when my daughter Kennedy was born, and I actually remember the first time I went in there, Kennedy was a little bitty infant. And Pat asked to hold her because she was really fussy and apparently gassy, according to Pat. But Pat asked to hold her, and we have been super, super close since then. She's probably the store owner that I'm closest with. That's one of very few privately owned thrift stores that I shop at is Miss Pat's, and I love her. I love her. I actually partnered with Pat this year for our university Toys for Tots drive. The staff gave $10 each, and we bought toys from her store, which she marked down to 50% off, which was really awesome, because we were able to fill one of those huge Toys for Tots boxes for $100. And then when I got home that day, Pat actually called me and told me to come back to the store, and she and her husband Brian had decided to essentially match our donation in toys. So they donated an entire second box of toys for our Toys for Tots drive. So when the Marines came to pick up our Toys for Tots donation this year, there were 2 massive boxes, and even the Marines were surprised. They were really surprised that we had so many toys to donate. So I'm sharing this to say, if you're in the Youngstown area and you have never visited Miss Pat's thrift store, I encourage you to do so. Pat's super cool, and not that it gets me any points, but if you do happen to stop in, tell her that April sent you, and she'll probably tell you that she loves April, because April loves Pat. So there's my shout out. Miss Pat's thrift store, Major Honey Hole, a place that I don't talk about a lot. I don't disclose a lot because I don't want it to become Goodwill. I don't want to go in there and see a million resellers just hanging out, camping out. I'm not here for any of that, so I don't talk about it. But I'm telling you guys, Miss Pat's thrift store on Market Street, right above the bridge coming into downtown. Her picture is on the sign, and there's a huge mural on the side of the building. You literally can't miss it. The next thing I wanted to talk about is a doll. There's actually 2 dolls in here that I sold, and I thought that I would ask my friend Deb about dolls, and she would enlighten me and have some helpful advice about dolls and hustling dolls. But as I talked to my homegirl Deb, my best reselling friend, I realized that she doesn't sell dolls, and she told me why, and she's creeped out by them, and lots of people are creeped out by dolls. I've been hustling dolls lately. I sold the Mattel My Child vintage doll. I paid $5 for that. It sold for $63, and I'm pretty sure that one went international. Another doll that I sold was the Diana Effner doll. I paid $10 for that doll, and it sold for $100. So I encourage you, if you're out shopping, you're out thrifting, and you see dolls, the vast majority of them are not going to be worth money. That's my experience. Most of them are not worth money, but there are some that are going to be worth your time to hustle. If you're not creeped out by them and you don't think that they're going to become possessed and take over your house at night, I encourage you to look at dolls, because I've made really good money on dolls the past couple of weeks. The next thing, as I mentioned, is the TaylorMade irons and putter. I've posted these in my Facebook group, which is the Resellers Learning Curve on Facebook. But then I realized not everybody's on Facebook, especially people that watch YouTube videos. People have their own reasons for how they conduct their social media, and not everybody chooses to be on Facebook. I have to remind myself of that. So I wanted to share this for the folks who aren't on Facebook and haven't seen these. I sold the putter, the Spider putter. That sold for $90. I took a best offer. And then I sold the TaylorMade iron set, and those were, I want to say they were called razor balls. I always forget the name of those putters, but I sold a TaylorMade iron set for $118. So I paid $75 for the 2 golf sets, and so far I've made $208, and I still have to sell the golf bag, which will definitely be at least another $100, maybe $150. So of the $75 that I've paid, I'm definitely going to make at least $300. So if you see golf gear out there and it looks pretty recent and pretty high scale, I encourage you to look up that golf equipment, because there's absolutely money in golfing things. The next thing I wanted to talk about, vintage massagers. I've mentioned these many times because I sell them all the time. This was a Stimulax vintage massager. It was super cheap because these things always look like they came from 1972, like they did. So I paid $3 for that massager, and it sold for $42. It did not take long to sell. It sold in under a month, so I did not ever have to do a relist on that listing. It sold the first go around, but $3 into $42, that's a nice flip. So I encourage you guys to look at vintage massagers. as well as I encourage you guys to look at percussion current massagers. Homedics are always awesome. I know that there's the actual, I want to say thumpers, which is how people describe those type of percussion massagers. They describe them as a thumper, but I know that there's a brand, I want to say, that's called Thumper as well. And all of those do really, really well. And someone in my group actually found a Brookstone massager, a handheld massager, that went for way more than any of my Homedics ever did. So I encourage you, if you see a handheld massager, look that up. A lot of those things are money, and they're going to be priced super low at the thrift store. And the final thing that I wanted to talk about is something that I have sold a literal ton of at this point, because Miss Pat, my girl, had a ton of new in box sets of Princess House dishes. I want to say they're crystal. They're clear glass. I sold a bowl set for $48 and I paid $8 for that set. But keep in mind that I paid $8 for that set knowing that there was a lot of them, so I only had to do one listing, and that's one listing, and you can list multiple quantities, and so you just have to take the pictures one time. But I think I had 3 or 4 bowl sets, and I had 2 or 3 plate sets. And I want to say that the bowl set I just sold was my very last bowl set, and I still have one of the plate sets left. So Princess House dishes, I encourage you to look those up. I don't buy them if they're singles and they're by themselves, but I will buy them if they're in the box with their protective padding already. And even then, I don't rely on that protective padding to ship. I'll always add in extra tissue paper, making sure that they can't move in the box, because if you're going to sell breakables, you want to be sure that they get there in one piece. So that's what I have for you guys today. Those are the things that I sold, non-clothing items. I hope you find this video helpful. I also want to mention, as I said in my last video, that within the next 2 weeks, I will be releasing my next for pay video, meaning that you will have to pay to access the video. And the name of that video is Reseller Research Methods 101, where I'm going to dive super deep into the research part of reselling, which I think is the absolute most important part of reselling. If you have any research related questions, please leave those in the comments so I can make sure to address them. I've actually contemplated doing that as I kind of want to do it as a live video so people can ask questions. But I think what I'm going to do that on that video is that if people purchase the video and they have questions, I'm going to allot a certain number of questions that you can email to me and that I will promise to answer. So be on the lookout for Reseller Research Methods 101. On that note, happy Tuesday, guys. I hope you have a great day. I have a really busy day. I'm trying to clean out my house, so I will be really tied up today, but I just wanted to remind everybody out there, it's Tuesday, and if you do not watch The Reseller Stew, I encourage you to catch The Reseller Stew on Pinching Peso's YouTube channel. It comes on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. As soon as I get my room cleaned out after today. Hopefully next week I'll be back. Hopefully next week, because today I'm getting my workroom cleaned out so my background does not look like a disaster area, and then I can return to the stew. On that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.